What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Tia. You already know who it is. Today, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I got a little something special for y'all that we ain't never did before, and I think you're gonna like it. Today is our very first interview on the 21 Future YouTube channel, and we got a super special guest. His name is Antione Jenkins. He's right out of Minnesota. That's where I'm from. So, I had to show love to the home team. He is an artist. He is a creative. He is a shoe designer, and he actually has a pair of kicks that he created dropping this week. And so we may get a little sneak peek of it, but we really just gonna learn more about Antoine and his background. So, made it this far, like, comment, subscribe. Let's go. All right, so I think I got everything recorded finally. But first of all, I just want to say thanks for joining the 21 Future YouTube channel. We're excited to have you. This is our first time doing something like this, so you're my very special first guest.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. So, I know who you are, right? Kind of heard about you in Minnesota and things like that, especially dealing with the creative scene. So for those that don't know you, tell the people a little bit about yourselves.
All right. First and foremost, my name is Antione Jenkins, owner of AntzCreationz and also Skintones. Basically, what I do, I'm an artist. I'm also a designer, creative director. Basically everything around the art scene and just aesthetics. I'm all about it. And then also video, I'm coming up with concepts and marketing and stuff like that. So I'm basically hands-on, very hands-on, and then I'm very good with my eyes, so I can see good things.
Right. Okay. So you just named off a few different aspects of art. Is there one where you're most comfortable with or that you enjoy the most?
Most of my time right now is really just creative directing and also designing. So I feel like being an artist it speaks to everything, because if you create something, if you create a product, you have to figure out a way where that product is not everybody can like it in a sense. Obviously as artists, you create something and it could be so big until people you explain it to them through your marketing or how you sell it to people. And that's really what I've been really focusing on and learning that craft.
Okay, so you do a lot of different art, right? And for those that don't know, he does custom design shoes and things like that, and he's done it for a lot of celebrities such as G Herbo, Juice WRLD,
Roddy Ricch, Lil Skies, Trent Jr, Don Maker, the Bell Twins, Stormy Reed. She's played on Euphoria and The Way They See Us. I believe that was a movie. There's a lot of other people too. There's still some in the works. So it's a long list of people. I've been customizing shoes for it's going on 5 years now. So I started my senior year in high school. It was more so started off as just a senior year art project, and basically I wanted to do something different, and it was just coming up with all these concepts. And I really didn't paint, and I hated painting, but the class that I was in kind of pushed us in that direction. So I was I've been watching videos on this and watching people kind of grow, and I might as well just try it. So I basically went to Walmart and grabbed some 99-cent paint, or 50-cent paint, and then I basically took all my brother's old shoes that were kind of mid condition, my old Air Forces I wasn't wearing, and just painted on them. Came up with a few designs, and then I won to school, and I was getting a few compliments on them. Just people just in the suburbs, people aren't gonna really rock with it like that because it's too different and too loud. But they were still getting compliments oh, those are cool and stuff like that. And so by the time I actually committed my full entire capsule for the art show, I had made a little display, a little pop up at the time, and basically showcased my art on the shoes. And basically people were just yo, this is so different and so cool. I'm fascinated by it. And then that kind of gave me the push to continue to do it, because I found such ease and just relaxation by doing it. So I just continued doing it during basketball. One thing led to another. I ended up quitting basketball, and I just started pursuing that. And then right after I did that, right when I made that decision, I ended up having one of my first pair of shoes on ESPN Live. And so, yeah.
Really? Okay, so what age? You said you were in school. What part in school? Were you in high school? What age were you at this time?
Yeah, this was all actually my senior year. I always had thoughts about customizing shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
During that period of right when Instagram kind of started, because we were at that age right when in high school, right when the internet was and all the social media platforms were damn near really rising. So
right.
I watched a lot of this stuff because I was obviously a shoe head. So I was dipping into those different scenes. Like Instagram was putting this stuff in my face, like these customizers, like, and then I'm seeing like Minneapolis Customs when in Studio 23, like work on shoes in there. It's like, yo, I know I'm just as good at talented as this.
Right.
Like I can do this. So little bit, it took time, but I mean, it definitely like, it was really that initiative. So it was like literally I was like 17, 18 years old working, doing this. And I really started, like I said, like right after I did it my whole senior year, like I was still playing basketball and everything. Um, I mentioned to Gary Trent, so we played against him in state, and I told him at the free throw line, like, yo, tap in with me, bro. I'll make shoes, this and that. And it was like a split little second interaction. And so, like, we ended up following each other on Twitter. We got connected a little bit, and then we kind of fell off for a little bit. And out of nowhere, he just hits me up, like, yo, you still customizing shoes? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm about to commit to this school, my college. I want to make a pair of shoes for it. So I'm like, all right, bet. Told me the names, and I came up with different sketches. And I literally, while I was in school at college, I was printing off these little sketches of like all the Jordans he had sent me, like Jordan 5s, 4s, 11s, and I'll just grab the like colored pencils and just start sketching up shit and just send it to him. He told me the school he committed to, he was going to. I made the design. He sent me the shoes on a Monday. He needed them by Wednesday, and I've never worked on shoes that fast, so I literally just damn near skipped the homework that I had practice too. So I was like, yo, didn't tell nobody on the team or anything that was going on. So I was like, yo, I did the shoes, sent it to him. And he liked them. The next thing I know, I was like literally in the car with some of my friends, and I was watching him on ESPN, like live committed. And then he grabbed the shoes on, put them to his ear, and I was like, yo, like after that moment, I knew. I was like, yo, I'm gonna follow this and keep going.
It's crazy that you had like such a surreal moment that early on, and like I guess you could say your career. And for those of you that's watching, right, Gary Trent Jr., he plays for the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
He's a Minnesota guy, and so I didn't know you played basketball. I hoop too. So what school did you go to?
Yeah, I went to Blaine.
Blaine.
Yeah, we.
but look, you know, you took a bad situation by going to Blaine, and you turned it into something like making shoes for Gary Trent Jr., who, you know, he was big at that time still because he ended up committing to Duke. So the fact that his, you know, commitment was even on ESPN is just kind of dope. So I think that's kind of crazy how that's kind of like how you got started. And you said that was your first.
That was like my first big. Like I only had did about 2, 3 client shoes. Other than that, then like personal shit. And that was actually like real paint that I was supposed to be using. Other shoes was just like acrylic that I was getting from Walmart.
So how did the other celebrities come about? Obviously, you know, you said the rise of social media. Did they find you on social media, or was it kind of like word of mouth?
It was really me doing my research. Like, actually, the first person I actually got in touch with was G Herbo. Actually, before that, it was Isaiah Washington, matter of fact. And so I met him, and I was like, yo, I reached out to another player because, you know, when those people got like tons of followers, you're not going to be able to get into them unless you really know somebody. So I hit up somebody else, and I was like, yo, if you can plug me in with this, I got you. So I did a pair for shoes for him, and they was fucking with him. And then the next Isaiah was like, yo, I'm trying to get something too. And I told him, so he gave me the shoes, and I linked up with him. But then like G Herbo, Melly P, if you don't know who he is, he's a like big time barber out here. He was working on them for him. And I told him I made a design that Herbo had posted on his Instagram page, like, yo, I need these forces. And so I hurry up and made the size, figured out his shoe size, and hit up Melly like, yo, could you figure out what shoe size he is? I'm going to get the shoes and make the design. I know I can do it. So I sent him the stuff, and then he posted on his page like, yo, I need everybody to tag G Herbo in the comments. And one thing I led for another, like it was blowing up. Like I had over like 200 comments just tagging him. And at this time I was living in North Dakota, so not a lot of people knew who I was really in the city because I was living out there going to school and stuff. So it's like it was cool to have that experience. And then his manager, matter of fact, was my little homie who I played basketball with, nephew. So then he was like, yo, you know, you were trying to reach out to her. I was like, that's my uncle. He can get you. Like, so bet. So I didn't have enough time to actually link up with him when I was home. So I just gave the shoes to Melly, and then I had to go back to school. He ended up getting the shoes, but he left. I don't know what happened with it, but it was like a disconnect. So I still ended up getting back with them, getting in touch with them later on. And I ended up making like 200 pair of shoes for him. And then like the thing again.
So you said 200?
No, 2 more pair of shoes.
Oh, 2 more. Okay.
No, not 200. If I was 200, then I would be
right.
For real. But I ended up doing another pair for him when he dropped the album Swervo. Yep. And I went out to LA. So I went out to LA, and I ended up linking with him. And I linked up with a producer of his because he ended up leaving that next night. I mean, the next day when I was flying out there to go to New Orleans to go do that debut
Right.
party for it. But other than that, like once he came back to Minnesota, I had basically tapped in with him again, and then we finally linked up and had that. But most of the time when I'm linking up with celebrities, I just do my research and figure out
Right.
who I need to connect with first to get to that middleman in something to
Yeah.
get to the bigger picture. And
Because
that's how I
somebody
got
always
connected
knows
with Juice
somebody.
WRLD. Yeah, with Juice WRLD, Lil Skies, like everybody, to be honest, is always finding the middleman.
Okay. So
Even
I
Lil
can
Key too.
go ahead. You said
I
who?
said even Lil Key too. I forgot the
Okay.
main name.
So I actually kind of respect like how you kind of like go about things, and you could tell like you're committed, right? Because a lot of people say they want to do stuff, but the fact that you're doing your research, like most people think, okay, hey, I'm trying to get in touch with a celebrity. What do I do? They don't really sit down and think, okay, how can I get in touch with these people? And a lot of times, and as I get older, I realize celebrities are more accessible than people think, especially when you're dealing with like shoes and stuff like that. Because I resell myself, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so there's a lot of like local celebrities, things like that, that you can get in touch with. And then a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And that's kind of how that worked with you. So I think that's pretty dope. And you've done a few different art designs on shoes and things like that. You're doing a few
Mm-hmm.
other things, right? You said you're a whole creative. What's your
Yeah.
long term goal that you want to accomplish in the end?
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, it was like having my own shoe silhouette, but I feel like I'm gonna have that done within the next 2 to 3 years. So it's like, and I'm probably moving in the direction of coming out with boots and then sneakers,
Mm,
just because of the way of like how it is. And Minnesota is like a place where, in the cold, where people always sleep about boots. Like it's always Tim's.
yeah.
I feel like, and there's not like a boot that kind of represents like swag or like that can transition to both ways like sneakers do. So I'll probably have that my own silhouette. I'm gonna just say that probably within the next 2 to 3 years, and then just growing off that brand, and then also like my production company of like really teaching people how to market themselves and
Mm-hmm.
really establishing their brand as a whole, and like making sure like if you want to be a professional brand to be up there and with the next leading company like Kith like you got on or like
Right. Right.
Dior like all those brands. There's a reason why they're pricing their items at a certain piece because there's so much art that goes into it and there's so much like complexity that goes into everything. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you can treat your brand like that, then there's a reason then the people are gonna buy into that.
Right. And I tell people the same thing too, right? Like even when you're just starting out as a small business, if you
Mm-hmm.
act like you're a big dog, people are probably going to believe that you're a big dog without even knowing kind of like your backstory. And what I mean by that is just like starting out, obviously you may not have the funds or anything like that, but you just got to kind of hold yourself to a certain standard that you would hold brands like this to if you were buying from them or doing business with them and stuff like that. So and that's kind of what you guys are getting at, right? With Skin Tones, is that
Mm-hmm.
the company you're referring
Yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah.
So what's Skin Tones for those that don't know?
Skintones is basically a production slash creative marketing agency. We're basically bridging the gap between non-traditional artists and commercial businesses. So basically taking where if there's a local influencer that's good at what they're doing, why not partner them with the big name corporate business to kind of merge that gap to make them
Mm-hmm.
money? Like artists can be making money out here. There's plenty of
Right.
opening days. It's just the fact that people don't know about it. So there's still business and money in both sides, or they just have to merge those two. So basically, like with all of these Fortune 19 and Fortune 500 companies, corporate companies in Minnesota, why are they not Like, why are they not taking the influencers in the city
Yep.
and pushing their brand, or even grabbing other people from the local places that they are based out of and pushing their brand? That's the only thing that's going to make them grow the most, really, and have other people to create more opportunities. So it's like it's really building a community of that network of continuously growing the brand. So it's like really what kind of sparked the idea was me working with the coffee company, a local coffee company in
Yep.
Minneapolis. I honestly made an iced tea, a summer drink, an iced tea, and I got to design the cup. Basically, like taking that instance and you putting it on for another artist or putting a musician in a position to partner with another business and bringing their fan base to them to help both of them grow.
Right. And I actually was going to ask you about that too. So it's kind of funny that I never really understood like what the basis of the company was, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a great idea. And especially, I'm going to drop that video to the little promo that you did for that
Yeah,
drink. And so what was your drink called?
it's called the AC Cooler. It'll be back out this spring. So it was out just
Mm.
for a little bit. We had to deal with some issues, but we got
Mm-hmm.
those figured out.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, shit, the whole process was fun. Like I could have
Yeah,
directed like that whole thing with me and my manager and a few, probably one other person, and we just told the whole story, like what Minnesota's like. Like you can either go to like the beach and have a nice hot day, or you can go to the park and hoop. You can even get fly throughout the day and just chill with the guys. Like it's literally a whole different scene of like different feelings of what you can feel like and grabbing the drink.
exactly. Okay. And people always ask, right? Every time I say I'm from Minnesota, the first thing they say is, "You're the first black person I know
Yeah,
from Minnesota." And two,
that
they
ass,
say,
that
"What
ass.
is there? What is there to do in Minnesota?" And for those of you that are watching, it's a lot that you can do in Minnesota. It's hard to kind of explain because it's definitely not like an LA or like an Atlanta or nothing like that. But it's home, right? Like, people there close knit, you know what I'm saying? Especially like the black community. I would like to think it's not that many of us. And there was a time where I thought it was a ton of us, but it's really not. And so the fact that you're trying to do things to kind of bring that creative group together and not
Mm-hmm.
just be like, hey, I'm trying to put myself on, but putting other artists and things like that on too, and creating these partnerships with these corporate brands, I think that's really cool. And a lot of people can benefit from that moving forward, especially as you guys continue to get bigger. So that's love. Shout out to
Oh,
that.
we definitely like the biggest thing is like what really also another thing that pushed it was a lot of people feel like they have to leave Minnesota
Mm-hmm.
to be getting really put on, but really what those LA and New York are offering are just corporate companies pushing your brand. Like
Yep.
they're giving you a deal or they're giving you a loan to work with big corporate businesses where you don't even need to have that. Like I can get this experience out here. It just you got
Mm-hmm.
to talk. Like if I go out there LA and I want to work with Mountain Dew or something, I've already had previous experience of working with the whole entire design process of building a cup and then figuring out marketing, having these budgets, going to conversation. Like I know how to run that. So it's like you have more to bring to the table than going
Yep.
there with your head cut off and like, oh, okay, and then you could snip the deal. Like you could be offering so much more, and then they'll give you so much more room of freedom where you don't have to deal with that.
Right. Right. Okay. Shout out to that. So the reason why I brought you on the show, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's a big week for you.
It is.
Um, you talked about wanting to have your whole silhouette, like your
Yeah.
own silhouette. And so what you've been doing now is you've been taking silhouettes that are already known and people are already buying, and you're throwing your own taste, throwing your own design on that. And so you got one, right? Just
Yep.
dropped. Talk about that. Do you have a name for it? Can you show
Yeah.
us?
You got
Give us
these
a
right
little
here. They're
sneak
called
peek.
the AC Loon. No, actually, they're Loon Blazers. So
Loom
I just got
Blazers.
these. You guys can check these out. Just y'all getting an exclusive look. This is some fabric I bought at the warehouse, and it literally fit the Minnesota vibe perfect.
Uh
High
huh.
top sneaker with the outside feel, the woods and the outside deers. We big on hunting. I mean, not me personally, but feel me. We got our state loon bird, and then the water, and this is just like when you're in the winter of Minnesota, you're gonna see all of these colors pop all the time. So even
Mhm.
if it's a sunny day, you're gonna see the snow, the light blue off the snow, even the water, and then have to represent the state. So, and then the greens, like these shoe goes perfectly with every color. And it's actually these aren't even the original laces. Those are original laces, but I got yarn laces inside of
Mm.
them, so they're gonna be super fire. And actually, I'm
Okay.
gonna show y'all. I got another pair. The finished pair, matter of fact. There they go.
Ooh, I like the lace swap on that. That like
Yeah.
really like make it pop even more.
So yeah,
Oh,
these coming out very soon. Stay
okay.
tuned. And I also do have another way I can probably sneak y'all in with these. Where did the shoe go? I'm working on these right here I'm doing a collaboration with another shoe brand out here that has their own silhouette, and it's for Valentine's Day.
Mm.
But I'm about to put this on here.
I saw you actually put those on Instagram. I think your manager had a pair that I remember that like swoosh right there. So
Yeah.
what's that?
This brand is called Never Stop on Dreams. It's a Minnesota local brand, and they kind of have their own silhouette, and it's called the Cloudy Years. So
Mm-hmm.
with their shoes, they have a cloud on it. So they got like the replicas of the Jordan ones and Air Forces. And I recently just did my first tutorial video with Skintones on with their model instead of
Yep.
an Air Force model because I'd rather just represent the brand and a black-owned business than helping out another big name brand that's not really
Exactly.
helping me. So we're actually working on this collaboration right here for Valentine's Day, which will be releasing at the end of February too. So
Okay.
I got two pair of shoes releasing in February.
Wow. Okay. So back to the loons, right?
Hmm.
Um, you said you wanted to implement a lot of like Minnesota style stuff. Was
Hmm.
that your inspiration? And when you were creating this shoe, did you know you wanted to represent Minnesota from the beginning to the end, or did it just kind of come along the way?
To be honest, this whole year, I kind of broke it up into different categories. So the first quarter, I'm basically like the first couple months, I'm focusing on nature, and I know Minnesota. Like all of my designs come from the nature of Minnesota because like we
Mm-hmm.
actually get to experience 4 seasons,
Right.
unlike a lot of people. So I definitely was inspired by the loon, and I wanted to have a loon design. So I was like thinking of like what could I do, and like I said, I kind of walked into. I was thinking of like an outdoor look where we could kind of be shooting outside, getting like an everyday feel. Like I wanted the feeling of the shoe to kind of be like I could wear them every day, but also if I want to wear them at night, I can flex in them. But then also if I want to go to a business meeting, they
Yeah.
look nice enough like to get a compliment where I can wear them too. So what y'all see in the marketing, y'all will see like there's so many different looks where you can pull it off in it, where the colors itself is just so they're so earth tone where the earth tone is kind of like coming back in style now where it's not people aren't really wearing
Mm-hmm.
these bright colors, especially in the winter. So um that I was really thinking about those were like the main emphasis of what I was thinking the entire time
Mm-hmm.
throughout the process.
Okay. So in a process like that, like how long does it take from like the conception of the idea to like the sketches to that finished product that you have right there?
Um Most of the time, so it's like the ideas usually come like just off the air, like when I'm just regularly doing. Like I usually like let the ideas come to me when I'm just thinking of using like everyday objects for inspiration. And then like me going to cook it up is really about finding materials and stuff like that. But if I'm just painting, I can usually just figure it out within like a couple of days, to be honest, just from
Mm-hmm.
start to finish. But now with like sewing and stuff like that, that's probably gonna take a few weeks. But
Right,
other than
right.
the idea and like how I tell the story doesn't really take longer than I say like a couple hours. Not gonna lie.
You said the story.
Yeah, because
So
that's how I think
what do you
about
mean
it.
by
So
that?
basically, like I think about how am I going to tell the story about the shoe. So if I come up with a concept of like what I want on the shoe, now I have to tell you how I got to this point. So I got to tell
Mm-hmm.
you where the feeling is and what I want you to take away from the photos without you trying it on. What is the video going to make you feel like? Where if you do put these on, this is your takeaway. Or this is what you're going to have. So I usually come up with the stories first and foremost,
Yep.
and the product after, or like the product idea, then story, then product.
Okay. All right. So tell us, right?
Yeah.
You created the shoe, you got one of them. How many pairs are actually going to be out there? If somebody wanted to get a hand on these, how can they go about that?
You guys will have to go to my website. I will be releasing a few pairs in Urban Jungle, but other than that, you have to go to my website, and I'm probably only releasing 10 to 15 pairs.
10 to 15
And yeah,
pairs.
and after like probably the first 8 are sold in hand, it will be pre-orders, and then it'll take probably like 3 weeks to get them.
Wow. Okay. So what's going to be retail on these?
It's looking like 250,
250.
275.
That's not bad though,
Yeah. Because I
cuz
feel
they're
like
handmade.
exactly, and
250,
I'm doing this just
275.
out of love too. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I'm not really stressing too much about it because like I said, I find love in creating shoes.
Yep. And so the name you said
The
the
Loon Blazers.
Loon Blazers. So there you have it, y'all. Antoine's coming out with a pair of kicks called the Loon Blazers.
Make
It's
sure.
one of his first shoes that he's designed, right? Not
Uh,
designed, but created in a sense.
this year, I'm gonna say
This
this year,
year.
because
This
I
year?
used to do. I did releases all last year too, but I just
Okay.
didn't. I stopped a little bit because I was focusing on a few other things, and I didn't want to, focus on myself too much with everything
Okay.
going on.
Okay. All right. So Loon Blazers, his first drop of this year. It's only looking like 10 to 15 pairs, so we gonna see if you able to get a hand on it. I know I'm gonna try to. But 250, 275, we'll figure it out. There you have it. Make sure you go check him out. I'm gonna drop your handles right here. He got a lot of stuff going on. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Antoine, for
Yeah,
coming onto
um,
our channel. And
appreciate
good luck
you.
with everything.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you for having me on. I'm glad to be a part of the channel. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget that shit's important.
Yes,
And
sir.
comment down below too.
Okay. All right, y'all.